I think one of the greatest challenges is someone paying for an activity or a service that is generally a waste of money or a box checking activity, and having something work while they're paying for that. It worked. Like, did it? And we got to unpack how it worked.
Today, we're going to be talking about SEO and the website. I wanted to dig into SEO because I think you and I have a lot of opinions about it, Corey, and I'm sure we'll upset a lot of people who build websites. But and just kind of dig into how we feel about SEO and how it fits into the marketing mold of a financial advisor.
Boy, all right, you picked a topic that we could. It has its place. SEO has a place if I want to search for a financial advisor in Baltimore. You're competing, right? I mean, that's how that works. SEO has a place if I'm an advisor and I don't know where to start and I need marketing help in financial services. Broadridge, 20/10, FMG, they're going to dominate MCO advisors. Oxley, Carson Group, they're going to have that SEO thing on lock, right? And we're not going to show up. Where we show up is if someone already knows the brand, knows the name, knows what they want, and goes right to us. So I don't want to steer this conversation off path just yet, but SEO, in my opinion, is a refinement game. And I don't think most of the advisors watching this show or out there should be in the refinement game yet. They're still in the foundation game.
I love that. That's a really, really good point. And one of the things I would bring up is I think how people approach SEO. I'm not mad that you want to be number one on Google. What I would say is, are you wasting too much time and money competing with Fidelity and
Yes.
Morgan Stanley? And
Yes.
that's when we even get past the ads.
Yeah.
So unless somebody types your name or types in your company name, they're going to type in, local advisors in Baltimore. I scrolled through and I actually found the place where I used to work. It was the third one down. And I only recognize it because I used to work there. And even then, you're blanketed between a few people. That's when I think it can matter for possibly Google reviews or things like that. I think that can be a positive aspect if you have something in there where people are searching, they see that other people enjoy you and other things like that. I think it has its benefit. But the effort I put on that aspect, that small, somebody happens to be searching for me locally, they're comparing me with 3 other advisors because they don't trust a friend of theirs that they're asking, so they want to do their own research. They happen to find, us, they see a few Google reviews. I feel like the intent of somebody searching feels high, but your opportunity to work with them is still low.
The intent is the big one there. I would say, let's just be real. You got $1,000 a month to spend. You could spend it with a search engine optimization company who could come in, put all the meta crawlers and metadata in your website, all the words and all the key functions that Google is going to crawl for and find when someone searches for financial advisor in Baltimore. Okay, spend the $1,000 on that, or spend the $1,000 creating content and putting ads out into the world where your consumers are actually consuming content. Why I would go this direction is because the folks that come into your world based on the content and the ads, you've already spoken to them, right? You've already had a touch point with them, communicated with them, and they're going to be meeting you in the frame of mind of a client that you probably want to work with, or they have an expectation of you. When you're doing it on SEO, you're going to be bringing in everyone. It's literally you have no, they could have 20,000. They could be looking to just execute $6 trades.
And we have a finite amount of resources and time. And what I would find is if you hear the words SEO coming from an advisor, I find that's the only thing they're doing. It's the only thing you can handle. It leads into your budget and it leads into your time. And I found, like, we were doing this on a website when I was where I was working, and I think we should have switched our focus. So I'll explain what we were doing as a couple of years ago. Taking pre-approved articles, posting them on our blog that came from, we were LPL, so it was the marketing library, in the hopes, I think, that all the language on there would have trigger words and keywords and things that would put us up higher, and people would get lost in the content. They would search for us and find it. We started doing a lot of our own original content and putting it up there too. But what we didn't do is put media and funnel people to the website. We use the website as the grab, as the sale. I think you're asking too much from a website to convert an individual who's searching around for something, but they're not looking quite for you. To sell you on a website, I think is very difficult. So when I look at SEO and ad spend on Google, I find that the people who succeed on there are people who have enough dollars to get over the tipping point, to pay through to where the audience starts to build and you almost brand with your money. But most advisors do not have the budget or capability of doing something like that. And if anybody has any different experience, or you're crushing it with your website or your SEO, I would love to hear it. But all the stories I hear and everything we're dealing with, I just find that people are misallocating their dollars to something that's not bringing back the revenue that they're looking for.
For a lot of reasons. I'm sure there's advisors out there, might be in the community, might be watching right now, that could say it's working for me. And I would say that's awesome. If it works, keep pushing it and keep doing it. I think the problem is it's a time game, right? SEO, you're buying something. You don't have to put any time into it. You find a company, you allocate to them. They probably confuse the shit out of you with what they tell you. And you say, go. And they're like, all right, $1,000 a month. We'll lock you in for 12 months and we'll hammer it down. And in 12 months, you reevaluate and you decide whether it was a waste of money or not. If you push the content thing and push everything we talk about, which is building brand, consistently showing up, content, value, telling your story, that's a daunting thing. And we've covered this, 67 ways from, a million ways from ground zero here. So I don't want to go down that road. It's just SEO has a place if you guys are executing on the 10 foundational pillars that we've talked about a million times. Then I would say yes. If you're executing on this and you're looking to continue to scale the business, now let's start to reactively bring in some traffic through search engine optimization.
I look at our website and I look at an advisor website as you always call it, a storefront. And it's where people can come to see how you represent yourself, and I think verify the information they should have grabbed from you from somewhere else. So I love using content as the funnel. I would rather have 10 people who watch this show every day go to the website than 100 that I've never met and have never heard of me and don't know who I am, because I do not believe that a website is strong enough to convert those individuals that would match what the content can do when I send people there.
Not at all. I couldn't co-sign that more. I think especially in this business we're in this long-term relationship business, parting or trusting someone with arguably the second most important thing in your life to your family and health.
Yeah. We're not selling AirPods.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Apple wants to be at the top or something. You're selling technology or product, or where we're handing people money. Not only are we competing with the people who are probably old school, and if they're going to be somewhere, they're probably going to be all over Google because they're not over social media. I just think we can allocate our time to a smarter area and play the small game. I think that you're playing the SEO game, you're competing with the big people. And that's a losing game. And I see advisors do that a lot. That's why we bring it smaller and granular and bring it more personal, to be more direct. You're going to talk to less people, but you're going to develop more relationships over time than trying to compete with this wide net.
Let's call Fidelity, Schwab, all the big platforms, all the big players, Vanguard, right? They all offer advisory services. Let's call them the Goliaths. You guys are all Davids. To beat Goliath, you have to play in the trenches and play on the fringe where they don't have the time, capacity, or ability to move, right? You're agile. You can change, shift. You can do things quickly and make a decision tonight and change everything you want to do tomorrow. They can't. It takes them months to make a move. So those trenches are content. Those trenches are storytelling. Those trenches are showing up places that you can quickly be. And you think it takes time. So you're like, oh, I got to go through compliance. Like, imagine getting the Schwab marketing team on board to shift their entire campaign away from something. I mean, you're talking a year. So you guys are Davids. Pivot, move.
Yeah. I love that. Another great example. And I think it was Stacy Havener, who I read a post where she said, don't try to out BlackRock. No, you're trying to compete with somebody that you'll never be able to compete against.
I don't hate if you guys are out there doing SEO and it's working. I would coach you differently. I think the entire premise of this show and everything Ryan and I do is we tell you what we would do. Like, none of this is bullshit. It's like, if you guys actually hired us and paid us money to come into your business, this is it. Like, this is what we're telling you. It's not just, flyover advice.
Let's say somebody finds you on Google and now you think it's your SEO. But what happened is they listened to 3 of our podcasts. They watched the show for 3 weeks. And then they, they're consuming something on Facebook from us because they found out about our group. Then they go to the website. And then they go to Google because they want to find out where our website is and type in MCO Advisors and go there specifically looking for us. And then we go SEO. But really it was everything else that we did that led to them getting there. So even the metric itself isn't necessarily honest because you're only seeing the end of the journey. You don't see anything else where people were.
Yeah. Very meta. First, let me just say hello, Pete, Brett, JB, Eric, thanks for the message. Sid, what's up, guys? I see you guys all here. I appreciate it. And Eric, I appreciate the free commercial. We love working with you. Super meta, Ryan.
Just kidding, Eric.
I think one of the greatest challenges is someone paying for an activity or a service that is generally a waste of money or a box checking activity, and having something work while they're paying for that. That's one of the greatest challenges that you and I, as authentic business drivers and marketing people, run into, because it's like, it worked. Like, did it? And we got to unpack how it worked.
I love that. Your mind's on fire today with where you're at and what you're thinking. What do we tell somebody who's in an SEO contract and can't get out? How would you add to SEO if you had to? If you feel somebody's stuck there, how do we execute on what they're already trying to do?
I think the biggest thing you can do, any of you guys that are in a contract with anything, SEO or not, is and you can't get out of it, is get on the phone with your,
stop paying. Yep.
No, honestly, get on the phone with the account manager and challenge them. Don't fight them. Just, guys, I just want to make sure what I've paid for is working. Let's walk through this. I've been really starting to pay attention to marketing. I want to know a little bit more about how this is actually working. Because a lot of times what you might get, and I've seen this just in marketing in general over the years, is you might actually get some more performance out of them, because what they've done is they've sold you at this level, and over time they've paid less and less attention to your account. They haven't heard from you. That's just human nature, unfortunately, in those instances. So if you get on the phone with them and challenge them and push them, they actually might dig in and be like, I don't know who handled this in the past, but boy, they didn't put a lot of time into it. Let me spend some time, and that's what I would do with any of your accounts.
I love that. That's actually a really good tip of somebody of leaning back in to say, what are we focusing on, and how is this? Am I reaching my goals, or are we on the way? And not just, we always want to delegate, but remember, you got to be the quarterback at the same time. Even if you have somebody building your website, writing some of your content, or editing your videos, let's say, maybe not writing your content, you're going to need to be the quarterback, because it's got to sound and be like you.
And advisors feel the same thing. You guys feel the same thing. You bring on a new client, you give them more attention up front. It's only human nature that 6 years in, the squeaky wheel is the one that gets greased. And if this person's a great client, but they're not calling or contacting, just being in full disclosure, you may not be touching base with them as frequently as you should.